To another video. You guys said that you wanted more Kroger related videos, and this is a Kroger related video. Now, I couldn't find anything about the financial stability of the Kroger Corporation, but I did pull up this article because I thought this article was very intriguing, and I am familiar with the news about this Kroger location. Now, the Kroger store in Germantown, and I laugh at that because they a couple of years ago this was never considered Germantown Kroger. It was more Monroe Kroger, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But anyway, let's get back into the news. A couple was trying to park in the parking lot of the Germantown Kroger. A car pulls up, and the husband gets shot. Is non-life threatening. He has non-life threatening injuries. He's going to do okay. The police are still investigating even to this date, okay, to find out what happened, and why they chose this couple. Okay, now let me get y'all familiar and get you kind of caught up with the history of this Germantown, quote unquote, Kroger on Germantown. It used to be called Monroe Kroger, and before that, it used to be called Farmers Market. Farmers Market was like a little bit further down to where the Monroe Kroger used to be. Kroger bought the rights to that building, and the Kroger Farmers Market was the place where a lot of low income people would go to get deals and things of that nature. Okay, Kroger bought the building, and eventually they moved locations. They moved the location of this store to Monroe Kroger, a brand new building. Okay, now the Monroe Kroger, okay, even though it was a brand new building, a lot of, like, if you was an up and coming manager, you did not want to be located to this location, because that's Kroger way of saying, we don't really have a lot of faith in you. We're not going to put you in our other prestigious stores. You're just going to come to the Monroe Kroger, and if you survive through all of it, then you'll still be a manager of Kroger. This was also the location if you are a veteran. Like if you've been a manager for Kroger for many years, haven't really gone anywhere, this is pretty much the place where it was your final destination before ultimately you either get fired or you just quit. Okay, nobody wanted to work at the Monroe Kroger. You had to be foolish to want to be transferred to the Monroe Kroger. That was considered a death sentence type of store. Now, Monroe Kroger, and if you look at the area surrounding the Monroe Kroger store, well, let's go ahead and call it Germantown. This area was considered the hood. Okay, where Jefferson, they had projects on the front side of the Monroe Kroger and to the back side of Monroe Kroger. Okay, and a lot of customers would not go there. The only customers that would actually go there were people that actually lived in this location. Now, since then, and this has been going on for like 5 years now, the city has really cleaned up this part of town. Okay, it's not considered the bad part of the city. It's not considered the hood. Okay, they have cleaned this area up. A lot of land that nobody wanted, a lot of buildings that nobody wanted, they tore those buildings down. They tore a lot of those buildings down, and now they have condominiums all over this place. And the reason why this area is prime real estate is the fact that a lot of people that work downtown need a place to live, and you're closer to downtown in this area than you would be anywhere else. Okay, and they pretty much got rid of a lot of things that the city kind of turned their head away from, with crime and burglaries and murders and things like that. They have really cleaned up the image of this town, as well as the living arrangements. Okay, if you still trying to make ends meet, there's nowhere in the world you can afford living in those condominiums, so people have to move elsewhere. Okay, so that's the deal about Monroe Kroger, and Germantown is actually the melting pot of the United States. You have all type of ethnic and religious background type of individuals and citizens around the Kroger area. So they kind of want to label. Kroger kind of wants this store to be labeled to reflect the people that they're catering to, and they're catering to the Germantown community. Not saying that they're closing the doors on people that are trying to make ends meet or anything like that, but it's obvious they're catering to the Germantown community. That's why they changed the name to Monroe Kroger to Germantown Kroger. Okay, so there's sort of and Kroger is sort of trying to change the image of how they do business with Germantown Kroger. Okay, like I said earlier, this was the Monroe Kroger was a death sentence for managers, department heads, even store managers. Now, not so much, particularly with the recent news about Kroger, trying to change how they do business financially. Okay, now if you've been checking the articles, you've been checking a lot of news, they have closed a lot of things since they've been phasing things down and phasing things out. They have already closed their bakery factory. They have already closed several stores, smaller Kroger stores. Okay, so they're already on this course of sort of trimming the fat, sort of saying. They have already gotten rid of a lot of managers that was making a lot of money, tons of money. Okay, now how this story of the husband being shot in the parking lot and what I just told you about the backstory of Kroger Germantown have anything to do in common. Normally when it was Monroe Kroger or when it was Farmers Market and a crime took place, even though the crime happened and the police investigated, they really didn't investigate it to the full extent. Okay, because 9 times out of 10 they will label it it had to be something to do with drugs, or they was arguing with one another, or someone was high or anything like that. Now, ever since Kroger, now they done changed the label of Kroger on Monroe to Kroger Germantown. They're really taking these types of things very seriously. When it was Farmers Market and Monroe Kroger, they didn't really emphasize too much on shoplifting and things of that nature. Now they're taking it to they're taking it to the extreme. They always had police officers, uniformed police officers in the building. Okay, they even made a booth for them to go to in the Kroger store. Okay, but now they have their own security, and they really have tightened up because they want people, particularly the Germantown community, to feel comfortable of going to this store. Publix recently built a Publix downtown. It's not in the same area as the Germantown Kroger. It's a little bit closer to downtown, and they're hoping to get those customers that were normally going to Kroger on Germantown to come to Publix. It's a little bit it's a fancier building, and the only questions I have with the Publix downtown is it's not a lot of parking And it's really in a closed, confined area, and I feel like that's going to really scare a lot of customers going to this area. I feel like the Germantown Kroger, it's at a perfect. It has an advantage because